8 to 10 a.m. and you are listening to Salam Media.
Right, we thought we should kick off a series, and we're starting today. In fact, we're called My First Ramadan. So why? Because it got me thinking the other day when we had the first day of Ramadan last week to say, you know what? What about people experiencing Ramadan for the very first time? So naturally, we're talking about people who are reverts to Islam, who now have like sort of actively embraced the faith, whereas maybe, of course, as young people, they were not part of it, right? What changed for them? So for that sort of person, whether that person's 10 or 15 or 20 or 40 or 50 or 60, it's their very first time. Very different to someone who's been brought up into that faith every single day, every year. So Ramadan is a very natural part of their lives, and they would get it very quickly. So what's it like? What's it like having and experiencing my first Ramadan? And the very first person we'll talk to in the series called My First Ramadan is Nicole Johnsson, who's 22, I understand, and living in Denmark. So Nicole, appreciate your time. Good morning and assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you. So you've got this big responsibility of sharing your first Ramadan.
Yeah.
So let's get this right. Is this your first Ramadan, or in fact have you had your first Ramadan a couple of years back?
This is the first Ramadan where I've been able to fast and really doing my very best. So in a way, this is my first Ramadan, um, but otherwise it will be my third, I think.
Okay. So what's the difference between your third Ramadan and the first that you're fasting? I mean, something's happened between the two, right?
Yes, I feel like when I wasn't able to fast, I don't think I took it as much to my heart as I should have done. So and I spent more time cooking iftar now than I did before. So this is definitely different.
Okay. And what has it been like? I mean, it's a few days now. So now you are actually fasting, right?
Yes.
Now, for me as a kid, fasting, I probably kept my first fast at the age of 5 or 6, and then was hungry the whole day and couldn't wait to break fast at whatever 5 or 6 o'clock South African time. But so it's a natural thing for me, but it's not a natural thing for you, right?
No.
What's it been like for your very first fast?
It's been very difficult. Um, Especially not drinking water. That I think is the most difficult thing not to do. Um, yeah, yeah, that's been hard.
Yeah, yeah, and therefore I mean, clearly you have a sense of a mental preparation and a physical preparation. Like when you say, "Well, this Ramadan I'm going to fast," compared to before, there were
Yes.
certain steps you took, right? What were those steps?
I think that I put all my trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for that reason, I'm able to fast now. I don't think that I would have done it if I didn't have the attention. Um, because it is hard and it definitely drains you. Um, so if you're not really mentally prepared, I don't know if it's like not for me at least. It would have been very much
Yeah.
more difficult for me.
I think you're right that it can't just be about just do your best and it'll be fine. There has to be a why behind it, and the why in this case, of course, is like one is being a Muslim and understanding why you fast and understand the benefits and the fact that it's an injunction that you want to commit to, and no matter how difficult it is. Otherwise, it's simply telling someone to stay hungry, and that's not the same thing. The level of motivation is completely different, isn't it?
Exactly. I think when you realize that this is something that you have to do, that this is something that Allah has told you to do, uh, then it gets easier. For I like every time that I talk to non-Muslim at my work and I tell them that I'm fasting or stuff like that, they're always like, "Oh, I could never give up water. Or, I could never do that." But it's yeah.
Yeah, which shows you that human beings are resilient. If they really need to do something, they actually can, and we take a lot for granted, right? So I mean, of course, fasting is a major uh, part of Ramadan. It very much defines Ramadan and sets it apart from any other months in the world, right? But that's not the only thing that happens in Ramadan. What else are you doing in what we call now my first Ramadan?
I spend my time getting closer to Allah, and I try and spend as much time in a mosque as I can. I work nighttime, uh, in the afternoon, so I can't. When I have lectures, it's usually around 5 p.m. Uh, and that's the time that where I'm at work. So it gets difficult to get to the mosque every day, but I'll do my best. I'm doing my
Hmm.
best.
which means then that you probably break your fast at a similar time to when you at work, right? And what time
Yes,
would you break fast?
I do. Yes, I break
And
fast.
what time would that be?
Around 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. ish.
Okay, fine. Well, we're quite lucky in South Africa. It's 20 past 6 in Johannesburg at the moment. I think about 10 to 7 in Cape Town, just to give you the differences
Mm.
based on the seasons, right? Um, and uh, it obviously takes me back to the beginning. If this is your first Ramadan, but you're effectively your third Ramadan, then
Yes.
something happened to you that got you drawn to the Islamic faith, which was not there when you were a kid, right? What happened to you?
Um, I f- I think that what like attracted me to Islam was the fact that I saw how my Muslim friends were treating people, because non-Muslims don't read the Quran. They read us Muslims and how we are dealing with the sabr and how we are like having patience and talking to other people.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. And so first you were drawn to their actions, and then their Islam that drives the actions, as opposed to the other way around, right?
Yes. Then I
Yeah,
started to read the Quran in the library in secret because I was so afraid that my dad would find out.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and this was when I was around 16, I think. And then when I was 18, I said the Shahada and I became Muslim. Yes.
So that is what is it 4 years? Have I got that right?
Yes, around it's soon it'll be 4 years in July.
Yeah, and therefore the change, the migration of yourself, right? From what you were before. I mean, you're still in Denmark, right? But what you were before and what you are now, in many ways, you're the same person, but you're also a very different person. What's been the experience of that migration been like?
Um, I think like there has been a lot of changes, yes, but not that much either. I think I'm still me, but I'm just better with patience now, I think, and
Yeah.
I'm better at treating people better. Um, but otherwise, I don't think there has been that much changes.
Yeah, yeah. I often talk about, for people, whatever they do, if they're part of, in this case, the Muslim faith, you want to see how they can impact themselves, but also impact the people that they interact with, as you've mentioned, but also impact broader society. I mean, do you see that not just you personally, but you as part of a broader Muslim community, your ability, because of you embracing Ramadan, are able to impact on people who have no idea that you are Muslim, but they are benefiting from what you do anyway. I mean, do you see that often, those examples and symbols of that?
Um, mm, Not quite often, no, not here in Denmark, actually.
Okay. A different world, and of course, we can take a lot of things for granted where we are, right? Perhaps just the last thought as you move into, like, coming to the end of the well, not quite there, but maybe towards the first week of Ramadan, right? If you fast forward to, like, say, the 30th fast of Ramadan, when it's all done, inshallah, right? What would you like to gain out of it, besides the obvious things, which is, closeness to Allah? What would you like to think that you'd be telling me if we spoke on the 30th fast of Ramadan?
Um, that's a really hard question. That's a really hard question because I would normally just say that getting closer to Allah, but I also feel like it's getting more consistent with my prayers and not uh postponing them because of my work. Um so yeah, that's I think that's what I would say.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. My daughter created a hashtag on Instagram, and it's simply called, pray wherever you are, even for
Yeah.
2 minutes. So maybe that'll sort out your inconsistencies in the delayed prayer. Hashtag pray wherever you are. Nicole, great chatting to you. Thanks so much for your time. I'm inspired, absolutely. And I like to think others will be inspired by how you embrace and undertake your, what we call my first Ramadan. So in this case, your first Ramadan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fascinating indeed, Nicole Johnsson. Who else should we be speaking to? She's from Denmark. Who else should we be speaking to in this feature called My First Ramadan? We're talking about people who, you can have this debate about whether they're born into Islam, because the reality is technically they are, but those that to formally embrace it at a much later stage of their lives, and how they experience their first Ramadan. So do you know anybody? If that's the case, well, I want to be talking to them. I want to be talking to you. If you are that person, drop me a WhatsApp 061 766 0355, or just comment on the various social media pages that this broadcast is there on right now. Two more things we'll talk about, from my first Ramadan to the Imams of South Africa. We thought, let's talk about the various Imams in South Africa. We'll talk about Ismail Lont and his own story just now. Last year we did a feature called the Mosques of South Africa, which I thought was really fascinating. Now it's the Imams that effectively drive and run those mosques. To get us there, we'll talk cricket and how South Africa's cricketers seriously making waves in the T20 space right after this.